Welcome to the G-Sharp Security Podcast, Episode 1. I'm Jill, and I have to say, the energy in the studio today is absolutely buzzing.
And I'm Zach. It's great to be here. It really feels like we're at the start of something interesting.
We definitely are. And, before we get into the heavy-hitting stuff, I have to give a massive shout-out to Mike in the control room. Mike, thank you for making us sound professional and, well, for promising not to delete the files if we mess up. We literally couldn't do this without you.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, just keep the coffee coming and it'll be fine.
Exactly. So we are diving into a topic today that feels incredibly timely. We're looking at a brand new article that was just posted on the blog at gsharpsecurity.com. It went up on February 8th, 2026.
Which, if you're looking at your calendar, means we are deep in the hype cycle for Super Bowl Sunday.
The timing is just impeccable. The article is titled "The CISO, the Quarterback of the Modern Enterprise," and it's written by Guy Albertini. Now, I'll be honest with you. Usually when people try to make sports metaphors for corporate jobs, I kind of roll my eyes a little bit. It usually feels forced.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Right.
We hear things like slam dunk or home run in meetings all the time, and they just lose their meaning.
Right.
But what Guy Albertini does here is different. He isn't just using the quarterback as some, vague symbol of winning. He's dissecting the actual mechanics of the position.
The pressure, the decision-making.
The reliance on a team, all of it. And then he maps that directly onto the Chief Information Security Officer.
And just a quick housekeeping note for everyone listening. Throughout this conversation, we're going to be pronouncing CISO as CISO. Rhymes with hisso.
Right.
We aren't going to spell it out CISO every time. CISO just sounds more like a human being and less like a tax form, don't you think?
Much better. It humanizes the role, which is actually the whole point of Guy's article.
Yeah. So let's get into the meat of this. The core analogy here is the spotlight. We all know what the quarterback life looks like. Sunday afternoon, millions of people watching. They are the face of the franchise.
Right.
If the team wins, the quarterback gets the MVP trophy and the car. If the team loses.
Well, they're the ones getting roasted on sports talk radio the next morning.
Exactly.
And that is the central thesis Guy presents. He calls the CISO the quarterback of the digital age. Just think about the visibility. In the old days, IT security was this thing that happened in a dark basement. Nobody knew who was in charge until, I don't know, the email server went down. But now
it's front page news. A major breach is a headline story.
Exactly. If a massive data breach happens, the press doesn't ask, who was the junior analyst monitoring the firewall log at 3 a.m.?
Nobody cares about that person.
No. The headlines scream, where was the leadership? How did the CISO let this happen?
Yeah.
They shoulder the ultimate responsibility, the victory or the defeat.
Which feels incredibly heavy. I mean, that is a lot of weight for one person. And this brings us to the part of the article that I found really fascinating and honestly a little terrifying. It's this concept of influence versus control.
Yeah, this is the crucial nuance that I think most people outside the industry really miss.
Because if you think about a quarterback, let's use a big name, like Patrick Mahomes, he calls the play, he shouts, "Blue 42," or whatever it is, he snaps the ball. But once that ball leaves his hand...
He has zero physical control over what happens next. Zero.
Right. He can't block the defensive end who's rushing at him. He can't force the receiver's hands to close around the ball.
No, he can put the ball in the absolute perfect spot, a perfect spiral, right into the breadbasket. But he cannot physically make the catch for the receiver. And Guy Albertini makes a brilliant connection here to the CISO. A CISO can draft the most airtight security policy in the world. They could buy the most expensive, state-of-the-art firewall software. But can they physically stop an employee in the marketing department from clicking on a suspicious link in a phishing email?
No, of course not. They can't reach through the screen and grab their mouse.
They cannot control every single mouse click, every interaction, every server patch that a sysadmin might forget, or every weak password choice. And yet, and this is what Guy calls the unfair reality, they possess all the accountability.
That is the definition of a pressure cooker. You are completely responsible for the outcome, but you don't actually control all the variables. How does anyone stay sane in that job?
That's where the quarterback analogy really shines. It shifts the perspective from control to leadership. Since the CISO can't control the mouse click, they have to influence the culture. They have to inspire the entire team to care about security so that the receiver wants to catch the ball.
So it's less about being a technical dictator and much more about being a cultural leader.
100%. If you're just a tech geek in a corner office somewhere, you're going to lose the game. You have to be a leader who can rally the entire organization, the offensive line, the receivers, everyone to execute the play.
Okay, let's talk about the opposition. Because in football, you have a literal defense trying to take your head off. The article uses this great image of a quarterback standing at the line, looking out at the field, and dissecting a complex blitz package.
I love this part. For anyone who doesn't watch a lot of football, a blitz is basically organized chaos. The defense sends more players than you have blockers. They're coming from the left, the right, up the middle.
They're trying to overwhelm you.
They're trying to overwhelm the quarterback's processing speed and sack him before he can even think.
And in our world, that's the threat landscape, right? But it's not linebackers, it's hackers.
It's ransomware gangs, it's state-sponsored actors, it's script kiddies, it's AI-driven phishing campaigns, and they're all coming at you at once. Guy Albertini draws a direct line between reading a blitz and reading the cyber threat landscape. A rookie quarterback sees the blitz, panics, and gets sacked.
Or throws the ball right to the other team, an interception.
Exactly. Panic leads to errors. But a veteran, a Pro Bowl CISO, they're proactive. They are reading the defense before the ball is even snapped.
What does that actually look like, though? I mean, you can't watch game tape on hackers the way you watch tape on the 49ers.
You'd be surprised. It's about threat intelligence. It means looking at industry trends. Okay, I see that healthcare companies are getting hit with this specific strain of ransomware this month. Or there's a new vulnerability in the cloud platform we use. That's reading the formation.
So you change the play at the line of scrimmage. You make an audible.
You have to. You build what the article calls multi-layered defenses. If the blitz comes from the left, say a phishing attack, do we have email filters? That's the left tackle to block it. If that fails, do we have multi-factor authentication, the running back, to pick up the block? In security terms, this is the security roadmap. It's a game plan that shifts based on what the bad guys are showing you.
It sounds like they have to be two things at once. A deep technician who understands the bits and bytes, but also a field general who sees the whole map.
That's a perfect way to put it. The article describes the CISO as the strategic mind. You can't just be tech support anymore. You aren't just fixing printers.
You're a pivotal decision maker.
A pivotal one. And the decisions have to be fast. In football, you have, what, 3 seconds to make a read and throw?
Maybe less?
Maybe less. And in cybersecurity, when an incident starts unfolding, let's say an alert pops up that data is leaving the network, the window for decision-making is incredibly small. The CISO has to make the crucial call in that high-stakes situation.
Like, do we shut down the customer portal and lose $1 million in sales to stop the breach? Or do we keep it open and risk losing customer data?
Oof. Yeah, that makes my stomach hurt just thinking about it.
Mine too.
It's not for the faint of heart. These are career-defining calls.
And that leads us perfectly into what the article calls the mental game. Because you can have all the skills, you can have the perfect playbook, but if you crack under that pressure, it's game over.
High stakes is an understatement. Think about the consequences for a second. In football, a quarterback throws an interception. It's bad. The fans boo.
Maybe they lose the game.
Right, maybe they lose the game. But they get to play again next Sunday.
In security, though, it's different.
So different. If a CISO misses a single policy gap that allows a sophisticated threat actor to breach the system, we're talking about stock prices tanking. We're talking about massive lawsuits.
We're talking about the CEO having to testify before Congress.
Exactly. The implications of a single misstep are just enormous.
How does anyone handle that? I feel like I'd be checking the logs every 5 seconds, never sleeping.
Well, that's where the personality of the elite CISO comes in. Guy Albertini identifies the hallmark of an all-pro CISO. It's not just intelligence, it's calmness.
Calmness in that situation.
Radical calmness. And decisiveness. When the alarm bells are ringing and the server room is practically on fire, everyone else is going to panic. The CISO has to be the one person in that room who takes a breath, assesses the situation, and says, okay, here is what we are going to do.
I like that. It's the Tom Brady effect, right? Down by 28 points in the Super Bowl. Doesn't matter. Stick to the plan. Execute.
Precisely. And it's not about avoiding all problems, because problems are inevitable. The other team is getting paid to play too. Hackers are smart. They will find a way in eventually.
So it's not about perfection.
No, it's about resilience. The article notes that both roles, the QB and the CISO, thrive on continuous improvement and learning. The game evolves. Defenses figure out your favorite play. So the CISO has to constantly learn. They have to turn those challenges, those near misses, into opportunities to strengthen the entire organization.
Okay, so we've established that the CISO is the quarterback. But here's the thing that always bugs me about the hero QB narrative. Patrick Mahomes doesn't block for himself. If his offensive line takes the day off, he gets crushed. He cannot win alone.
You hit the nail on the head. And this is where the article pivots to a really important point: the necessity of a team. No QB wins alone. And no CISO, no matter how brilliant, can secure a modern enterprise entirely by themselves. It's physically impossible.
And this is where G-Sharp Security comes into the picture.
Right. Guy Albertini, who remember is the founder of G-Sharp Security Positions, his company is that specialized partner.
Yeah.
If the CISO is the QB, G-Sharp is the supporting cast that makes the entire offense work.
I really liked how he broke down their specific services using the football analogy. It wasn't just a laundry list of we do X, Y, and Z. It felt like he was building a roster.
It really did. Let's look at one of their core offerings:
Yeah.
fractional CISO leadership.
How does that fit the analogy? Is that like bringing in a backup QB?
Think of it more like a veteran mentor or a specialized starter for a team that needs one. Not every organization has a franchise quarterback on the roster 204/7. Or maybe the current team is young and a little inexperienced. A fractional CISO steps in to provide that high-level quarterback leadership on a flexible basis.
Right. So maybe a company is too small to afford a full-time $1 million executive, but they still need someone to call the plays.
That's it. G-Sharp provides that field general to guide them through the season.
That makes a lot of sense. You get the strategy without the massive overhead. Okay, what about risk assessments and penetration testing?
That is the scout team.
The scout wait, explain that for the non-sports fans out there.
Sure. So during the week of practice leading up to a game, the scout team's job is to mimic the opponent. They run the plays the other team is going to run so the defense can practice against them. They try to beat the starters so the starters know where their weaknesses are.
Got it. You practice against a copy of your opponent.
Exactly. And penetration testing is just that. G-Sharp acts like the hackers. They attack your networks, safely of course, to identify the weaknesses before the real opponent does. They find the holes in your offensive line so you can fix them before game day. You want G-Sharp to find that vulnerability, not a ransomware gang.
Definitely.
Oh.
I'd rather lose a scrimmage than the Super Bowl. What about security awareness, education, and training?
This goes right back to what we said earlier about the CISO not being able to control every player. If your employees don't know the playbook, the whole play fails.
Mm-hmm.
You can call the perfect pass, but if the receiver runs the wrong route, or in this case, clicks the phishing link, it's an interception.
Right. Game over.
G-Sharp's training ensures every player on the corporate roster knows their assignment. They know what a threat looks like. They know secure data handling. It ensures the whole team is disciplined.
And finally, there's audit remediation and incident response.
That's the safety net. Because sometimes, despite the best game plan, the game gets physical. You get sacked. A breach happens. An audit finds a critical problem. You need a team that can come in, pick you up, dust you off, and fix the issue immediately so you can get back in the game. That's the incident response capability. It's the medical staff and the special teams unit all rolled into one.
It really paints a complete picture. It's not just we do security. It's we are the offensive line, the coaching staff, and the special teams unit. You can't play the game without them.
And the goal of all of this, according to Guy, is strategic alignment. Just as a supporting cast executes the scheme so the QB can shine, a CISO leverages G-Sharp's expertise to align the entire security program with business priorities. It allows the organization to stay on the offensive.
Staying on the offense, I like that. It's so easy to feel defensive insecurity, right? Like you're just sitting there waiting to get hit.
It is.
But this flips the script.
It does. It's about enabling the business to run fast, knowing the protection is in place. You can throw the deep ball because you trust your line is holding the block.
So let's wrap this up. We've looked at the CISO as the quarterback, the intense pressure they face, the need to read the blitz, and the team they need around them. What's the big takeaway here?
Well, if we look at the conclusion of Guy's article, he wraps it up with a really powerful thought. He says that ultimately, a football team's success is profoundly shaped by its quarterback. We see that every single season. The teams with the best QBs are usually the ones left standing in February.
Sure, you can have a great defense, but if you don't have a leader, you don't win championships.
Exactly. And the parallel to business. An organization's resilience in the digital realm increasingly depends on its CISO. This isn't just a nice-to-have role anymore.
It's critical infrastructure.
It really is. It requires that mix we talked about: strategic thinking, technical acumen, and inspiring leadership.
And an unwavering commitment to protecting what matters most.
Right. And Guy argues that Recognizing and empowering the CISO as the cybersecurity quarterback isn't just a cool metaphor. It is a strategic imperative.
A strategic imperative. That sounds like something that should be on a boardroom wall.
It really should be.
Yeah.
If you want to achieve lasting success in the digital age, you need your quarterback to be empowered, supported, and ready to lead. You can't win the Super Bowl with your quarterback tied up in the locker room.
I think that is such a strong takeaway. It changes how you look at the person sitting in that office or on that Zoom call. They aren't just the department of no. They're the ones calling the plays that keep the company in the game.
Absolutely. And they need their offensive line. They need partners like G Sharp to keep them upright and focused downfield.
They sure do. Listen, there's so much more detail in the full article, specifically regarding some of the leadership nuances we didn't have time to fully unpack. I highly recommend everyone go check it out. You can read the full piece, the CISO, the quarterback of the modern enterprise, over at the blog on gsharpsecurity.com.
It's definitely worth a read, especially to see how Guy Albertini weaves his experience in both of these fields together. Gives you a whole new appreciation for the job.
This was a lot of fun to actually make sense of a sports metaphor for once. Thank you for breaking this all down.
My pleasure. Always good to look at the playbook.
And thanks again to Mike in the booth. You're the MVP of this one. And to you, listening, thank you for joining us for episode 1 of the G Sharp Security Podcast. Until next time, stay secure.
Stay safe, everyone.